So I guess let's just start off. Introduce yourself for me, please.
I'm Janet Hicks, and I now live behind the tip of the hospital hill, but for decades I lived near this neighborhood.
Oh, nice. So I guess, do you mind explaining us to a little bit what you're doing here?
What am I doing here? I thought you were going to ask me why did I come, and then I was going to have to decide whether to tell the truth.
Well, I can come later if you want.
And the truth is, give or take a couple years, 30 years ago, a few people and I started it. So I'm the grandma of community dinner.
That's amazing.
Wait, you made this? You're like part of this? I mean, we'll keep it on the low key. But that's.
I helped start it. Someone named Melanie, before the first one, said to me, "Do you want to come help us make dinner?" And I said yes. And the only way I know how old it is if I ask Melanie how old her oldest kid is, because we started a couple of years before, and I saw Melanie's husband yesterday.
Oh, all right.
And we're about 30 years old.
That is amazing. Oh my God. So I guess, what was it like starting the whole thing up? Like, what did you guys do? Like, how did you do it?
We didn't start this exactly. This is actually in its fourth iteration.
Okay.
It's so the first iteration I was a leader of, and actually when we very, very first, I think we're in the Unitarian Church basement maybe. And then we were at the one of the academies, the academy that used to be HO. Which is that the Arts Academy? I think that's the Arts Academy. And what was the question? My ADD and I don't remember what the question was.
No, I get that. I think it was something on the lines of what was it like starting up the place?
So at that time, I was a volunteer. I was working at the then food shelf, and so I would go to some grocery stores and things like that, and get food that was at the edge of its freshness or the edge of its. I'm laughing because that's my sister. I got food that they were giving away that was still good to eat, but it was nearing the edge of its use-by date. And some of it was vegetables. And so I got really good at encouraging the vegetables to last a few more days. If you treat veggies like cut flowers, they will keep growing and lasting. Like, don't get scared, but things are breathing in your refrigerator now. Your lettuce is breathing. So if you realize that, and if you put some of them in the kiddie pool for overnight in cold water, or if you slice carefully their bottom of their stalk, et cetera, they feel very perked up. And then you can serve them a couple days later. So you accumulate them. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just sit in the kitchen.
Gotcha. Okay, that's perfect. All right. We can keep this around here.
Right.
All right. Sorry, we'll get a different angle on it.
So what was I saying? So anyway, I got really good at being the vegetable whisperer, and so that's what it was like when we were starting it. I would accumulate food and gather up food and keep it refrigerated or whatever, and then serve it on the second Thursday of the month. So I would look at this big pile of food, like 100 pounds or whatever, and think, what can we make out of this? And then I would maybe go out and get a couple more ingredients that it was missing to make whatever we were going to make. So that was fun. That was a lot of work, but it was fun. And then at that point, Patrick and I were the head of it. I'm pointing that way because Patrick's over there now, still working. And then, but it was kind of wild. Our volunteers weren't necessarily kitchen familiar. You know? And then, right, and it was wild. It was a little wild. And every time was a new thing, a new recipe, because we were making, whatever. And that was our first increment, or our first, whatever you call it. And then the next one, I think, was Janet Carskadden. So Janet Carskadden was this wonderful, talented, amazing woman. And she was organized in a better, different way than I was. And so then she was the head of it. And then we went what I like to call stealth vegan. We didn't tell anybody. We just gradually stopped having meat, which we didn't have a lot of anyway, donated before. And but it went from, when I was planning the menus, I was like generic, ordinary, Vermont, New England, something, And Janet went all the way international. So suddenly we were making these colorful meals that were fancy or different to the people who were eating them, because it wasn't chicken pot pie and it wasn't soup or stew or whatever. And pardon my ums, that was amazing. That was like white tablecloth, fancy looking meals. And we, like, always had a salad, always had an entree and or a soup, always had side dish, always had like dessert. And she always had some color or garnish to put on almost all of them. So you should see the pictures online of those meals. They are just gorgeous. And then, sadly to say, Janet passed away young from a brain tumor a couple of years ago. So now our fearless leader is this person here, Jess Hyman, and she's terrific also. And Janet had infinite patience and smarts, and she was Canadian. It just happens that Jess has infinite patience and smarts, and she's Canadian. So anyway, those are some of our iterations, but it's been about 30 years, and it's been great. And I figured that, well, our original purposes, we originally had a couple purposes. One was to pull people together into the community or in the community. A huge theme for me is catching things at the edge of their usefulness in our throwaway society. So, there's a lot of food that goes from the from being purchasable in the grocery store, gets right out of the purchasable spot, like the cooler or the whatever, walks out the back door and goes in the dumpster, or better these days, into the compost. But the amount of food that United Statesers waste is gigantic. It's about a third of all the food we buy. It's like every time you walk out the grocery store and you have 3 bags, you just drop one in the parking lot and go home. It's like that's how much we waste. So to me, another sub-theme was repurposing food in a very wasteful society. So, whatever people don't have in common, we all eat, and it does us all a lot of good to sit down and visit and eat. So, and my purpose was for a wide variety of people to come to the dinner. So I was not just, all respect to soup kitchens and everybody, everywhere, whoever feeds people who are hungry. I totally respect them. And my purpose was to feed everybody, including those people. So I think that's how it started, and that's how it continued. And it just keeps evolving. So like 3 decades later, here we still are, and it's very cool. And the neighborhood has changed a little bit over time. Our location has changed a tiny bit, but it's always been the Old North End. It's always been wards 2 and or 3. And when I was doing it, I think, or when we were doing it, I think, 90 or 100 was a lot. Now we try to be prepared for 160 at the most. But I don't know, ask me questions. I don't know.
Well, actually, I do have one that I kind of thought about while you were talking. I think you said that it had changed a lot over the years, especially when you started to how it is now, with the new director and with just different members of the community. But what are some specific things that you've noticed that changed a lot? That just I don't know, that made you think about, what it's all about. Saving, feeding people, giving them food, saving food, how you've seen it change over time.
Well, let's see. The food changed over time because what I was making was generic New England food. I was cooking New Englandish, Euro background, Yankee background. That was mostly what I was making. And over time, we've gone much more international. And it's always been pretty healthy, but now that we're vegan, it's still a huge plate. It's still wildly colorful. It's still nutritious, but I think of it as a little more nutritious. And in terms of the people, over 30 years, the Old North End has changed. It's always been where immigrants came, so my history's not very good, but 100 years ago and more than 100 years ago, immigrants were coming, people were coming off the farm to come to Winooski to work in the mills where the water power was and where they were making fabric of different kinds in the mills. And over time, Burlington got Vietnamese people after the war, and then a whole sequence of new Americans. So, and now we have some new American cooks alternate months. So alternate months we make whatever, and on alternate months some culture or another, or some new American from a specific culture will be our guest chef. So that's really cool.
So you got a rotating
right.
chefs
Right.
in here all the time.
And the other thing I forgot to mention is that at some point, maybe 10 years ago, maybe more, we got a huge, gigantic help from the Old North, from the city market, the Onion River Co-op City Market, because back in the very beginning, they were giving us a little bit of veggies, and that was great. But then they started giving us X amount per month, which was stupendous. And then later we started giving Onion River Co-op member worker credit for helping here in the kitchen. So that was radically different from the very beginning, because now we have a steady flow of volunteers, and a lot of them want to be there and everybody wants to be there and wants to be cooking, and we get to know each other, and and now we're in what was the Catholic grade school for generations, now is the Old North End Community Center, and has 14 or 15 really different from each other kinds of organizations, all different flavors and purposes of organizations in this building. So, and that's another indication of how the Old North End has changed. And I think you should be talking to these people in the line. I think I should stop.
Thank you so much for
In that case, well, thank you so much. All right, appreciate it. You did a really good job. Okay, I guess, well, can I pose one more question? Just one. That's it. Then I'm done. Okay, I just really wanted to really ask you about this. So I guess overall, speaking on the whole thing and how it is now, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about your work? How do you feel about what you've done, what you've made?
I feel good because it's has stayed an ongoing thing. I like the longevity of it. I feel glad about feeding all these people all these years. I feel glad about supporting the community. I think it's just cool. And it's not about me. Like, thousands of people have helped do this. Thousands of people have eaten it, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe 1,000 people have helped make it. So I'm delighted. I mean, a few people are coming who were kids or young grown-ups when they came to community dinner. Now they're bringing their babies. So I like that rootedness. I like that continuity. That's what I like.
My name is Jess Hyman, and I'm the coordinator of the Old North End Community Dinner, which is an all-volunteer run effort. And you're in the kitchen here today with our amazing volunteer crew who's serving up a delicious meal.
And so I guess, well, first off, I guess talking about the meal, what are we cooking tonight?
So tonight we have a wild spring-themed dinner. So we have pea fritters with a ramp aioli. So ramp are wild leeks, wild onions, and we're serving that with fiddleheads, which are the ostrich ferns as they first come out of the ground. We're serving them with fiddleheads and a garlic mustard and nettle pesto. We also have a carrot salad with French sorrel. And we have some biscuits that have ramps and herbs and dandelion flowers.
The most elegant dish I've heard of in a long time.
It's pretty good. Not everything turned out exactly how we expected it to, but that's the wonderful thing about these community dinners is that we have a lot of our vegetables are donated by local farmers, and in the case of this month, we had a lot of foragers who were collecting food as well. And with a team of volunteers, we put together this amazing meal that's available to everyone in the community on the second Thursday of every month.
Well, that's wonderful. And I guess moving on that, I did hear a little bit from Janet that you got started here around 4 years ago, or maybe a little bit earlier. Right? How'd you start, and how'd you become the organizer of this place?
Sure. I'd volunteered for the community dinner years ago, and after the pandemic, there was a need for a new coordinator. The woman who had coordinated the community dinner for many years and who did an amazing job and brought, Janet Karskaden brought this incredible light and joy and deep, rich flavors to the community dinner for many years. And when she became ill, I offered to help and then gradually took on the responsibilities. She had very big shoes to fill, which I don't think I fill them, but it's like I'm wearing different shoes. But it's really wonderful, and as I said, it's all volunteer run. We have a team of volunteers who come in to cook in the afternoons, and then we have another team of volunteers, you can see them here today, who are serving, and a third team of volunteers who do the cleanup.
A lot of volunteers, and I guess how do you secure all these volunteers? How do you get the word out there?
So we do, if people volunteer for the community dinner and for many other projects in the community, they can get city market hours. So some people volunteer to get city market member worker hours. Some people volunteer just because they love cooking and they love being part of the community.
In that case, well, overall speaking on the whole project, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about this community that you've helped develop, all these people that came to volunteer, just overall? What's your thought on it?
This is just an amazing place, an amazing group of people. This dinner brings me personally a lot of joy, and it brings nourishment and connections for the community, especially now when there's so much happening at a federal level, when there are so many things that are dividing us in our communities and that are excluding people. This dinner is an example of what happens when people come together, and when people can sit down together, enjoy food, talk with their neighbors, meet someone new. It changes how we act towards each other. It changes how we react towards the world. And I think if more people could cook and eat together, we might have a little more civility in the world and a little more understanding of the importance of diversity and equity and inclusion and all the things that together make our communities strong. So I love this dinner, and I also love food.
How long have you been volunteering here?
This is my first day. Yeah, I've never done this before.
Wow. It's amazing. And I guess, how do you feel about it as a whole? Like, what do you think, about what you're doing here, about the community, about the whole event?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love community events like this. I always love being a part of them. And I'm a chef by trade, so like this is easy for me. It feels right being in the kitchen, working with all these people. Yeah.
Doing something nice? Yeah, of course. And I guess you talked a little bit about a kitchen history. What do you do I guess you work as a chef, or what do you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm a general manager of a restaurant. I work at Gaku Ramen as the manager there. And yeah, I was the chef there not too long ago, and then I only recently moved up, so yeah.
All right, then. So, well, in that case, what would you say to people who are on the fence about volunteering or just thinking about whether or not they should come here and help out?
I mean, it's good food, it's community, it's free food if you're just coming, and you're helping people out and just doing good by other people. I mean, that's what life's all about,
And I guess, so what brought you here? I guess,
I live in a student co-op off campus, and I came to volunteer to get some volunteer hours in.
And what do you think about this place as a whole?
I really like it. It's really cool seeing everybody come together in such a unique way and connect with each other.
And what would you say to anybody who's on the fence about coming here?
You should definitely come. It's really good food. It's really good community and connections. Yeah, come out.
My name's Kason.
Nice to meet you. And how long have you been coming here?
I want to say 2 years.
2 years. Nice. And I guess, what made you come here in the first place?
I love the neighborhood planning assemblies, and then I learned about the community meal beforehand, and I was like, this is really good food.
Nice. And so overall, how do you feel about the whole thing, in just a nutshell?
I think it's wonderful. I think it's great that so many people from the Old North End can come out and eat some great food. I've met a lot of great people here. I think it's a great way to bring the community together around, sharing a meal, but then also talking about the issues that are, confronting us right now.
All right.
Hi, my name is Lauren. I am on the Ward 2 Steering Committee, or Ward 2 NPA Steering Committee.
And how long have you been doing this for?
I've been on the Ward 2 NPA Steering Committee for 2 years now, and I served on the Ward 8 Steering Committee before that. So about 3 years.
Well, in a very light way, do you mind describing to us exactly what you do, or get into more detail?
Sure. So the NPAs host a monthly meeting, and it's just really a community meeting. We have different guest speakers, and the steering committee is really responsible for setting that agenda and making sure everything runs smoothly, and kind of some behind-the-scenes work. We have a budget, so we provide some money to our community dinner. We also do some other things, like you might be getting a postcard from us in the mail soon, other little things like that.
So overall, how do you feel about what you've done, or how do you feel about your role that you overall have in this bigger picture? In a broad sense.
Yeah, I'm just grateful to have the opportunity. I really believe in what the MPAs do. I think it's really important to bring the city government to the people and make it really digestible, and I think that's a really big thing about what the MPAs do, and I'm proud to take part of it.
Hi there, my name's Monica, and I'm a volunteer here at the Old North End Community Dinner. And tonight my job is to be the greeter, so I greet people as they come in the door, and I ask them to sign in, and I remind them about the donations. And it's a great way to be connected with the community and see people that live around here. And this happens once a month, and then often there's music, just like tonight. So I really enjoy it.
How long you been doing this? Or how long you been, I guess, volunteering here?
You know, I would say almost 3 years. I actually, about 3 years maybe, off and on, because I can't make every month, or sometimes it's kind of a desirable shift, so people will sign up and then there's no more spots. I do live in the new North End, so I don't live in the old North End. But one of the reasons that I do it is because I earn city market hours, and so then this gives me a discount at city market. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with that program, city market has community partners, and so a lot of the elementary schools in town are partners. This dinner is a partner. And so when you volunteer for 4 hours, you get a 12% discount per month. So, you know, so my husband and I, and now my daughter is 16, she can volunteer as well. So we try to find events around town where we can volunteer and plug in. Yeah.
Mutually beneficial. You know, you save money and you get to help out people. So nice. So in that case, well, if you would like to maybe send something out to just the people who are on the fence about maybe coming here to volunteer, what would you say to them?
Oh, I'd say come join us. You know, we always need volunteers. We're open to new people. Obviously, like I live in the new North End, but I'm here in the old North End volunteering. And I think it's a great experience, a great way to meet people that live here, and a great way to learn about issues in Burlington.